Hey gamers, Rob from ZborGaming here, and today we have another gun guide for you for Black Ops Cold War. Today we're looking at the SMG MP5, so let's go ahead and get started. So this is basically unlocked at level 4. Once you unlock the custom classes, you're available to use it. It has a max level of 55 like all the other primary weapons do. So this is a full auto SMG, has a really fast fire rate, and pretty low recoil. So you do have two drop-off ranges here for the MP5. The first one is at 10.16 meters. Now this used to be around 15 when the game first launched, and they nerfed it pretty quick because it seemed like it was the only gun everyone was using. So it does 45 to the head, 32 to the body, and then it jumps out to 38.27 and 32.23. So time to kill is pretty quick at 210 milliseconds down here, and this will be a 4 or 5 shot kill in that early damage range here. So these are all the attachments for the MP5. Like the other weapons, it has 12 optics and 6 attachments for each other category. So again, you can head over to ZborGaming. I've got this infographic up there if you want to look at a lot of these in more detail. Hey, the other thing, guys, I want to mention here is I just released an attachments guide for Black Ops Cold War. This thing is over 90 pages of information. I've got a variety of loadouts in there, play styles. I review attachments by the statistical categories, pros, cons. I give you attachment recommendations. These are just a couple of the screenshots here out of the guide. There's a wealth of information here. Plus, up here at the top, I will throw a little link, and I'll have one in the description below. Guys, this is a ridiculous amount of information. I spent hours and hours and hours putting this thing together. And there's actually on the product page, you can find a coupon code that you'll get another 20% off of. So for less than $5, you guys can pick up this attachments guide. It's basically a cup of coffee at Starbucks or Big Mac nowadays. So let's get back to the guide here. MP5, taking a look at the firepower stats. Again, it does 32 damage within that 10.16 meters, and that is damage to the body. Fire rate is 857 RPMs, bullet velocity is 250 meters per second. Your melee quickness is standard at 1 second, and it does 24 vehicle damage. So if we look a little more specifically here at the damage, again, this is going to be a 4 to 5 shot kill to the head, and it's going to be a 5, 6, or 7 shot kill to the body. Now it is important to know that body is anything basically below the neck in this game. There aren't limb or stomach multipliers, etc., like there were in Modern Warfare. Now, the MP5 does have one unique barrel here, which adds 6% damage. But notice here, though, that none of your bullets to kill really change at all. So it does add a little bit of damage, but on the whole, it's not really going to change anything. So, attachments for your damage range. So you do have 3 barrels, which will increase that damage range, and you have two muzzles, which will lower it. Now your bullet velocity here, your base is 250, but you do have 4 barrels, which you can increase that base bullet velocity. That Ranger barrel will increase it by 100% up to 500 meters per second. Now if we move on to the speed statistics here, the SMGs, similar to the pistols, you get 100%. These are basically as fast as you can go in the game. It's a 10.8 miles per hour movement speed, 10.26 shooting move speed, and then your aim, walk, move speed is 88%. The only weapons that you can get a faster aim, walk, movement speed with are the pistols, and it has a pretty snappy aim down sight time at 275 milliseconds. If you're looking to increase your speed categories, look at the underbarrels and stocks. That's where you'll get most of your speed boosts. Now, if we want to look at more in-depth here into your aim down sight time, you basically only have handles with the MP5. That's the only attachment here where you'll speed up your ADS time, and that airborne elastic wrap will give you a 30% speed boost down to 192.5 milliseconds, and that's basically the fastest ADS you can get with this weapon. Now, some of your body attachments and your magazine attachments will slow that down, so keep that in mind. And if you're looking to boost your sprint to fire, you have a couple of stocks which you can equip. The collapse stock, no stock, or raider stock will all boost that sprint to fire time. So moving on to the accuracy, it's decent recoil properties for an SMG compared to some of the other weapons, not quite as good. You got the rest of the stats right here. You're pretty decent hip fire accuracy at 7 mils. So here is the base recoil pattern for the MP5. You can see it's not too bad. It jumps around quite a bit side to side, but it's pretty much just straight vertical, which is pretty good. So taking a look at the attachments here, which help that vertical or horizontal recoil, you have a handful here of the underbarrels and the muzzles. My favorite is probably this Field Agent grip because you get vertical and horizontal recoil, which helps. And then the SOCOM Eliminator gives you that 17% assistance with your vertical recoil, which is huge. So you pair those two together and it pretty much cuts out the majority of the recoil on this weapon. Also important to note here, the Task Force barrel really dramatically increases your recoil across the board. So you do get that added damage, which I talked about earlier, really doesn't help in your bullets to kill at all, and it really kicks up your recoil. So here is what the Field Agent grip and the SOCOM Eliminator look like when paired together, and you can see it pretty much eliminates 90% of the recoil with just putting these two attachments on. So if we now look at that Strike Team barrel, you can see here that before the recoil went up right to about this point right here, you can see how much additional recoil it adds. So here's the comparison. Your base recoil is over here in the yellow. This is your Strike Team barrel, and this are the two muzzle or the two other attachments which I showed you before if you pair them together, that grip and the muzzle. So one other thing I did here is I took that SOCOM Eliminator and the Field Agent grip and I paired them with the Strike Team because I wanted to see how much it would help that recoil pattern. And you can see it does give you a little bit better recoil than the base recoil. Just a slight bit of vertical improvement. You still get quite a bit of horizontal chop though. So guys, moving into the ammo category now, you do get 30 rounds for your max magazine. And I find that with the MP5 and the fast fire rate, you burn through this pretty quick. The reload quickness is 2.6 seconds, which there are a lot of other weapons that reload quicker than this. So just keep that in mind. Now you do get one extra magazine as far as your starting ammo when using an SMG compared to an assault rifle, which does help. So you get 30 with the 90 in reserve for a starting ammo of 120. And then your standard numbers here for your reveal distance and muzzle flash concealment. So if we take a look at the magazines now, here are all 6 of the magazines with their unlock levels. And you can see that your 40 round drum and your 50 round drum do increase that reload a little bit, not a whole lot. And your best reload times are going to come with the SAS mag clamp and that Salvo 40 round fast mag. And over here we also have all the mag, ammo, and capacity numbers. Now that mag clamp will give you 5 magazines actually to start the game with, which is nice. So guys, last thing I want to touch on here before we get to the loadouts is the muzzle flash concealment, and similar to the other weapons, your flash guards at 90%, your sound suppressors at 100, your eliminator 85, and that agency suppressor with 100% muzzle flash concealment. So guys, with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to the loadouts now. Here is the under level 20 loadout. So you have the flash guard, the extended barrel for the extra muzzle velocity, the steady aim laser for the hip fire accuracy, the speed tape will give you some extra ADS time, and that collapse stock for some sprint to fire speed. So let's go ahead and take a look at a little bit of gameplay here. It's not a whole lot of gameplay, just a little bit, but I wanted to capture some of the details of this weapon. So this is a fairly good mobility loadout if you are a low level, and with the muzzle flash concealment, it will sort of keep you under the radar as well. Just a decent loadout. It's not going to just destroy enemies, but on the whole, I like this loadout. I think you're going to play fairly well with it, and it's pretty accurate. Make sure you have a decent sidearm with you too, a pistol or a shotgun, because you will run out of ammo fairly quick. So let's take a look at some of the pros and cons. Like we mentioned before, you got the 90% muzzle flash concealment, 40% boost to your bullet velocity, your hip fire accuracy, your sprint to fire, aim down sight time. The nice thing with this loadout too is there are no cons to the loadout. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next loadout. Okay guys, so here's the accuracy loadout for the MP5. I have the Cobra red dot to give you a little bit of that magnification. The SOCOM eliminator for the muzzle flash concealment and the vertical recoil control. The reinforced heavy gives you some additional damage range and muzzle velocity. The field agent foregrip for its recoil properties, and then that airborne elastic wrap for the extra aim down sight time. So here's a little bit of gameplay. Again, just to sort of show you how the loadout performs, it's really spot on. I love this loadout for the MP5. It's not really meant to be a super long distance loadout, which is why I only put the Cobra red dot sight on. So let's look at some of the pros and cons here of this loadout. So again, you have that muzzle flash concealment, the vertical and horizontal recoil control. You get a little bit of damage range boost, the bullet velocity, aim down sight, as well as the flinch resistance. Major penalties here to your speed though, but with this type of accuracy loadout, you're really not going to need a whole lot of the speed characteristics anyway. You should really be sort of hanging back, picking people off, and really using the loadout more for that. You know, getting to places quick and then sort of picking enemies off one by one. So after this loadout, we're going to go ahead and move on into our gunfighter loadout here in a little bit.
They're dead.
Okay guys, we're going to now take a look at the gunfighter loadout. This has all 8 attachments: the snap point, the optic, the agency suppressor to keep you off the radar, the reinforced heavy barrel, the SWAT 5 milliwatt laser will help with your hipfire accuracy, the field agent grip for that vertical and horizontal recoil control, as well as the 40 round speed mag, the airborne elastic wrap, and the Raider stock. So those are the attachments we have for this current loadout right now, and you can see it works pretty well. You get on target fairly fast. And let's go ahead and take a look at some of the pros and cons now of this loadout. So you can see here it's got 100% muzzle flash concealment with the suppressor. You get good recoil control with the several of the attachments here, especially that field agent grip. The airborne elastic wrap for that ADS time basically helps offset some of the other penalties. You get flinch resistance, sprint to fire. On the whole, it's just a very good loadout. So we have a little bit more gameplay here. You can see no problem getting on target. I really like that snap point optic. I think it works well. So hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and stick around to the channel.